will. And those texts do exist. And Blake Lively went to the New York Times, and the New York Times wrote this sympathetic, poor Blake Lively story. Oh, we wrote.
Blake Lively's perfect Hollywood image is falling apart fast. Accused of manipulation, bullying, and hijacking It Ends With Us, she's now in the fight of her career.
Take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it. I want all the roles for me and only me.
But did she really play the victim while pulling the strings behind the scenes? And with Megyn Kelly exposing her past, is this the scandal that finally takes her down?
Actor-director Justin Baldoni is now suing his former co-star Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, seeking more than $400 million in damages, accusing them.
Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni started off as co-stars, but now they're locked into a legal battle that's getting uglier by the day. It all kicked off when Lively accused Baldoni of workplace harassment, claiming he created a toxic environment while filming It Ends With Us. Well, that was already a bombshell, but Baldoni didn't just sit back, he hit her with a $400 million defamation lawsuit. And he didn't stop there. He also went after Ryan Reynolds and Lively's PR team, accusing them of launching a smear campaign to destroy his career.
Reynolds had unfollowed him on Insta, so had Blake, so had the rest of the cast.
Well, now Hollywood is choosing sides. Reynolds, who's obviously standing by his wife, unfollowed Baldoni on Instagram. The rest of the It Ends With Us cast quickly followed suit, making it clear whose team they're on. But then there's Colleen Hoover, the author of the book the movie is based on. At first, she seemed to support Lively, but lately she's been keeping her distance. She even wiped any mention of Lively from her social media, which is pretty telling. And then there's the silence from Lively's past co-stars. You'd think after years of working together on Gossip Girl, somebody from that cast would speak up for her. But no, nobody has said a thing. As somebody you worked with for 6 years was being unfairly dragged, wouldn't you step in? The fact that they haven't just speaks volumes. While this legal mess is playing out in court, Megyn Kelly stepped in and made everything 10 times worse for Lively. And once Kelly gets involved, you know things are about to get brutal.
She's absolutely ruined her brand. She has started a fight she cannot win. She does appear like an Amber Heard.
She called out Lively for what she sees as a pattern of manipulation, even comparing her to Amber Heard. According to Kelly, Lively's been playing the Hollywood game for years, taking over projects, throwing people under the bus, and then playing the victim when things don't go her way. It's the kind of accusation that would be easy to dismiss if there weren't actual receipts backing it all up.
Said, at first, I was so upset that they had hired him, I actually poisoned the whole cast against him. And she goes on to say, but then they noticed that he wasn't a jerk and was actually a nice, charming person, and almost immediately I realized it too. But it took me about a week.
Once Kelly put the spotlight on Lively, old stories started surfacing. One of the biggest was a 2009 interview where Lively casually admitted that she turned the entire Gossip Girl cast against Penn Badgley just because she didn't like him at first. Now that ain't normal coworker drama, that's straight up high school mean girl behavior except with Hollywood money and power behind it. And the worst part? She later admitted he was actually a nice guy, meaning she went out of her way to make his life miserable for no reason. Then there's the press junket disaster. A clip started making the rounds where Lively was being interviewed by a Swedish journalist. The woman congratulated Lively on her pregnancy, and Lively turned around and made a nasty comment implying the journalist had a baby bump too. Except she didn't. And as it turns out, she couldn't even have children. The whole thing was just cruel, unnecessary, and completely unprovoked. And to make it worse, Lively and her co-star, Parker Posey, laughed about it like it was some kind of a joke. These stories aren't just random incidents. They paint a very clear picture. Lively's Hollywood image has always been polished, but now people are starting to see the cracks. For years, Lively had everybody fooled. She was Hollywood's golden girl, the effortlessly charming, stylish, and seemingly down-to-earth actress that everybody adored. But behind the perfect red carpet looks and carefully curated social media posts, there was another side of her. The allegations against her aren't just about one bad movie experience with Justin Baldoni. They point to a pattern, one where she allegedly manipulated, bullied, sabotaged, and abused people while keeping her hands clean in public.
different. She called herself Khaleesi and said Ryan Reynolds and we believe Taylor Swift were her dragons. And she's got the best dragons because they'll fight on behalf of her friends.
One of the biggest reasons she got away with it for so long? The power of her inner circle. Lively built strong friendships with industry giants like Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, people who have massive influence and a massive loyal fan base. Nobody wanted to go against her when she had that kind of protection. And it worked. No matter how many rumors surfaced about her being difficult behind the scenes, they never stuck because she was always surrounded by A-listers who kept her image squeaky clean.
Big. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled.
But then she made a mistake, a huge one. In 2022, during the Forbes Power Women's Summit, she stood on stage and basically admitted to everything Baldoni is now suing her for. She talked about how she would lie in auditions to get roles. Then once she was cast, she'd take over projects. She said some directors welcomed it while others resented her for it. At the time, it seemed like an empowering speech about taking control of her career. But now it sounds like a confession. It did not age well. With the lawsuit in full swing, that speech is coming back to bite her hard. Baldoni's team could easily use her own words as evidence that this wasn't some isolated misunderstanding. It was her strategy all along. And with everything that's coming out, even some of her biggest supporters seem to be quietly distancing themselves. Hollywood might have protected her for years, but that safety net is starting to break.
The way it was put to her, it seems, was he's kind of fat-shaming you and asking you about your weight.
He wanted to know how much you weigh.
And and then she's thinking, oh my God, I mean, I had a kid.
So the second things started going south for Blake Lively, her PR team went into overdrive. They needed to shift the focus fast, and their strategy was clear. Paint Justin Baldoni as the bad guy. Suddenly, stories started popping up about how Baldoni had fat-shamed Lively during filming. The claim was that he made comments about her weight before a physically demanding scene. But here's the thing. Industry insiders quickly pointed out that Baldoni had a documented back injury, and it's standard practice in stunt coordination to ask about weight for safety reasons. It wasn't an insult, it was protocol. But that did not stop Lively's team from running with it. They pushed the narrative hard, hoping to turn public sympathy in her favor. And for a minute, it seemed like it might work, until Baldoni fought back with receipts. Leaked text messages between Lively and her team painted a very different picture. The text suggested that she and Ryan Reynolds had actively worked together to discredit Baldoni, strategizing ways to control the press and keep her image intact. If people thought she was the victim, they wouldn't be looking too closely at what she'd actually done. And then there was the whole Taylor Swift angle. Out of nowhere, Swift's name got dragged into the mess when leaked text revealed that Lively referred to her and Reynolds as her dragons, the ones that she could count on to attack anybody who threatened her. The implication was clear. If she needed somebody destroyed in the media, they'd have her back. Reynolds had already played his part, unfollowing Baldoni and making it obvious that he was Team Blake. But Swift stayed silent. No statements, no support, no damage control. And that silence said everything. Swift is known for fiercely defending her friends, but in this case, she's choosing to stay out of it. Which means even she might be realizing that backing Lively right now isn't worth the risk. With Hollywood and the media watching closely, the final battle is taking shape. Now that the media circus is in full swing, the real battle is about to begin in court. Justin Baldoni's lawsuit is built on proving that she weaponized false allegations to take control of It Ends With Us, pushing him out of his own movie. If he wins, this won't just be a personal victory. It could completely change how Hollywood handles power struggles like this. Baldoni's team has a strategy, and it's all about using Lively's own words against her. Her 2022 Forbes Power Women's Summit speech is evidence now. The leaked messages between her and Ryan Reynolds plotting how to control the media narrative. That's also getting dissected in court. Everything she once said so casually about lying to directors, about taking over projects, is suddenly a glaring liability.